Hi, I'm Macy.
And I'm Missy.
We're best friends
and business partners. And each week, we're going to bring you a quote that inspires us, and we're going to talk about it.
Join us as we break down our favorite impactful messages for leadership and share how you can apply them to lead with confidence and purpose.
Get ready for a fun and authentic journey into leadership, life, and everything in between.
Well, hey, bestie.
Hey, bestie. Okay, I've got a question for you.
Okay, I have an answer.
Okay, just tell me the first thing that comes to your mind.
Okay.
What's something that you've trusted completely without reading the fine print?
Oh, that's easy. GPS.
Yes.
I mean, if the GPS tells me to drive into the lake, I'm at least going to consider driving into the lake, right?
I know that I'm the same way. I don't understand how we came to just blindly trust a computer in our car, but we do.
Yeah, we do. So today we're going to take a deep dive on trust with our guest, Brian Townsend. And Brian is a former law enforcement special agent with the DEA. So he's like top secret. He's got some top secret stuff.
He can tell us some stuff on here today, but then he might have to shoot us or something.
Right. Yeah. And he'd break trust. So we're not going to do that. So we know that in his previous line of work, trust has been a key thing. So we're excited to welcome you to the show today, Brian.
Welcome, Brian. Welcome.
Thank you.
Brian, before we actually share the quote this week, what else would you like our listeners to know about you? I mean, that's some pretty good stuff there we shared.
I spent 30 years in law enforcement. I was a police officer, a DEA Special Agent, and I'm still active. I still work with law enforcement, both in training, and I also hold a commission at a sheriff's office in Southwest Missouri. So still involved in public safety.
Servant's heart.
Thank you so much.
Yes, thank you.
Thank you for serving our country and your community. So the quote that we chose for today, I don't know this person. I just found the quote, but I don't know who they are. But this is the quote. People follow leaders by choice. Without trust, at best, you'll get compliance. And that was said by Lyn Stoner.
And it is so good.
Do you know who that is? Lyn Stoner, either?
No.
I mean, I didn't do the research before, but I'll have to do a Google after.
Yeah. And Macy, we talk a lot about commitment and compliance. And so I'm going to go out on a limb here and say, without trust, all you do get is compliance.
Yeah, absolutely. Okay, so Brian, Missy, let's talk about it. We'll start with you, Brian. When you hear this quote, what comes to mind or what stands out to you? And I'm going to say it again. People follow leaders by choice. Without trust, at best, you'll get compliance.
That's so, Brian, a great quote, isn't it? Every time when I speak to people, I have three pillars, and the first pillar literally aligns very well with this quote. And it's that leadership's, intentional, and it's not compliance, it's commitment. It's not obedience, it's trust, right?
Yeah.
It's doing something for someone because they have personal power, not positional power, positional authority in an organization. Yeah. Trust is everything. I mean, it's glue, it's the fabric that really holds teams and organizations together. I love that quote. I really do. Yeah. I'm probably going to steal it.
No, steal it.
I know, it's so good. We'll be using it. I can see that in one of our keynotes or a training for sure. Okay, so Brian, you spent years and still are leading people, and you're leading people in environments where stakes, let's face it, they're incredibly high.
Yeah.
In those high stakes environments, how important is trust compared to, say, authority?
It's everything. I mean, it's you need people to respond and act to keep, the operation safe, the public safe, and to see efficiency and just success in our operations. So yeah, it's absolutely everything. So you need people in positions that are competent. You need people in positions that aren't going to second guess themselves. They're going to be consistent with their orders and their actions. And and that ultimately that builds trust, and that builds people that will commit to go into these high stake environments.
Yeah.
Yeah. Brian, what have you seen in your career, in your life, that are maybe your top thing that you see, a mistake that leaders make that over time slowly erodes trust? Because I think there's things that quickly, right, erodes trust, but
Yeah.
what's something like over time that could erode trust?
That drip, drip, drip.
Yeah.
Yeah, the slow drip. Yeah. I think a lack of consistency,
Yes.
because people see that,
Yes.
how do I treat one person compared to the rest of the team, or just how do I go about different things? Am I consistent? And people see that. I mean, your people see absolutely everything you do, everything you say, everything, all your actions, everything. So if you're not consistent in that, it's going to come across as not authentic, is not, maybe not competent. It's going to erode over time. Absolutely. You got to be consistent.
Yeah. I also think, just to kind of piggyback, we talk a lot about this. I'm sure you do as well, Brian. The consistency is important, but also in the do what you say you're going to do, right? Like you
Yes.
can't say
Yeah,
one thing
right.
and then do something or not do something completely else, right? Like there's that, you have to be consistent in your behavior. So I love that.
I do too.
Yeah, you can
I
erode trust in seconds, right?
Oh, yeah,
yeah,
it takes seconds. Absolutely.
a lifetime to build, sometimes in seconds for it to
That's right.
go away. All right, so I'm
Better
still kind of fixated, Brian, on what you've done for all these years, and like you've managed and led people through these dangerous and stressful situations. How does trust impact decision making during a crisis?
That's a good question.
Yeah, it's everything. I mean, if you don't have a leader there that you believe in, that you trust, you yourself are going to second guess the operation and the decisions that are being made,
Yeah.
and just like the erosion, like you said, within seconds, it's the same thing. If I'm in a high stakes environment and I don't know that my, quote unquote, I wouldn't call a person a leader, I'd say person with authority is making a competent decision, has our best interest, has the interests of the operation, is just competent, then I'm going to second guess everything that he or she says, and then that could slow me down and really just set us backwards, right? I mean, you need when you're in these environments, you need to be able to go forward believing in the person that's sending these orders out, and if you don't have that, it's really difficult, and
Yeah.
no one wants to be in
I
that
would
position at all.
I would imagine, Brian, in a lot of work that you've done in your past, you only have seconds, right? You only have seconds to make a decision. So if you're not trusting that leader or that authority, as you said, then that's like adding another second or a second and a half or 2 seconds,
Yes,
which in some
seconds count.
instances, I mean, that could be detrimental if you are, I mean, we don't think about
Yeah.
it necessarily thinking like day-to-day leadership, like, oh, what could 1 second do? But I would imagine in some of those dangerous,
Yes.
stressful situations, 1 second could mean someone's life.
Yeah.
Yeah, it really is, and everyone's going to Monday morning quarterback if everything
Of
goes
course.
wrong,
Yeah.
and even if they look at this, and we do a lot of debriefs and things like that, and with the information that's presented to you at the time, how well do you make decisions with that information? How quick do you make those decisions? How quick do people respond to that decision making, right?
Yeah.
Based on their level of trust and in you. So yeah, those seconds in a law enforcement or even military or other environments, I mean, they're everything.
Yeah. I want to piggyback on something that you just said about when things do go wrong. What would you say a trusted leader, a good leader, actually does differently when things go wrong?
Because they're going to go wrong.
Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Accountability. You got to
Mm,
look at, you can't say, okay, what, who do I blame? Where,
yeah.
what went wrong? It went wrong. You got to you got to eat that, and you got to be accountable to it, and
Yeah.
you have to just, figure out how to correct it, but it starts at the top. You got to be accountable for it. You're not looking for people to blame. You blame yourself, and you look at the situation, and and you figure out where was the, where did it stop? Where was the gap at? And then you fix it. But you got to be accountable.
Yeah.
Absolutely, 100%.
There's that great saying that says a great leader takes all of the blame but none of the credit. Right? When
Yes.
something is wrong, you're going to take ownership of it. And then if something goes right, you're like, well, my team, not me, my team, they were the superstars, right?
That's right.
Yeah, I agree. Yeah.
We've talked about consistency and we've talked about accountability, and we know that you have helped develop leadership training for thousands of DEA employees. Other than those two that we've already talked about, consistency and accountability, what leadership traits consistently show up in the most trusted leaders beyond those two?
Good communication consistently comes up, not only at DEA, but just throughout my experiences, my training, my consulting, just good communication, just whether it's, not just listening to people, but listening with intent to understand people, and really being authentic, and taking the time to have a meaningful conversation and build that relationship with people. But communication, the best leaders I've ever worked for and best communication leaders I've ever been around are people who really take communication to a whole another level. You don't even know what's happening. You just connect with them, right? And you're holding on to every syllable they put out there, and you'll follow them into anywhere. And
follow them into
back to what you're saying long.
Yeah.
Yeah, you need that. You absolutely need that. And communication, it's everything. And it's really it's the of everything we've all talked about. I mean, it's that's it.
Yeah. Not sure if you see this a lot, Brian. We surely do in organizations that we've trained in, that people get promoted because they're good at their job, right? Like, you're good at managing all the tasks, but you're not great, or you've never led people. So now they have to lead people. And part of that, as we're talking about, of course, is now you have this task or this undertaking of earning trust of a team. What are some things that you can, advice-wise, give to maybe a fairly new leader who was promoted because they were good at their job, but now has to earn the trust of their team?
Be transparent in everything you do. Explain the process, explain the why, explain your vision, your thought process. I mean, I came from a generation where, you do it because I told you to do it, right? Or just because, or this is the way we've always done it. And that's not an effective way to lead, especially with the different generations and things like that. So just be transparent. I mean, why am I doing this a certain way? And because, face it, the higher you grow in an organization, your perspective is going to change. You might have different, stakeholders, especially if you're, let's say, a mid-level manager, you have people above you, people below you. So not everyone's going to understand your thought process. Explain it. What's the harm of that? I being transparent is everything, because as you do that, you're not hiding things, and people start to understand that, and they have all the information. They're not like, what is he hiding? What does he know that I don't know? If you're a transparent leader and you make that clear to your team, they're going to know what you know, and that's going to help you make decisions. It's going to help them make decisions. It's an all around good situation for everyone.
Yes.
So, I love what you said. Yeah, I love what you said about what's the harm in telling them. Like, if you have to hold something back from your team, then it's not the right decision, right? Like, I just love the kind of the duh of that. Just tell them like, why wouldn't you tell them, right?
Yes. People are craving that authenticity and that vulnerability, transparency from their leaders.
Yeah, that vulnerability, and that helps as well, right? Because you don't know all the answers, and to sit up there because you're in a position of power in an organization doesn't mean you have to have all the answers. Sometimes you don't. Sometimes you need the people around you, whether even it's people that work for you to help support you and to give you those answers. So being transparent works. I worked for an organization, a team once that we used to have a meeting, an office meeting every week. And at the end, it was all managers in this particular setting. Every single Monday morning, I hated it. It was hours long. And
Oh,
we would put this information, or I would put this information out to my team following the meetings. And if it wasn't a personnel related information or personal, no one needs to know someone's, going to be suspended or in trouble or having some, issues at home or something like that. But if it had to do with work, I was 100% transparent to my group.
yeah.
And ultimately, the other groups in the office started to come to my team members saying, "Hey, can you forward Brian's information to me as well, because we're not getting all the information." And ultimately, the other managers, they did the same.
Yeah,
And
I mean, it's just so important.
Absolutely. It communication didn't break down. They had what I had. This wasn't, us
Yes.
versus that. This was a team. I just happened to be the person fortunate to run the team, but we all had the information. So when we all came to the table to figure out how to do an operation or to work a certain task, no one had an advantage, right? We all came having the same information and with the same goal in mind, which was, to be successful.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm going to flip the script a little bit on that. So we've been talking about how to build trust, but as a leader, what are the signs? Like, how do you know when a team genuinely trusts you?
Mm.
When they don't push back as much. I mean, it's good to push back even when you're genuine. It's, I always encourage people, tell me if I'm wrong. Tell me if there's a better way to do it. I don't have an ego. I'm not going to get upset.
Right.
Creativity. You don't see any risk taking. You don't see any innovation. That means they're afraid to talk to you. That means that, whether you discount what they say, whether you scream at them, ignore them, or take the information, run with it like it's your own, because sometimes people do that as well. When you stop getting any type of input, something's wrong. You need that input.
Yeah, that's such good insight. All right. As we kind of wrap up and come to the backside of the episode, let me ask you this. If you could teach one lesson about trust to every leader listening right now, what would that be?
I have to reiterate a lot of things I've said. Just be consistent about how you operate. Be transparent about how you operate, and just be decent, be human, be accountable.
I love that, be human, because I think sometimes leaders, probably especially in your environments, the type of environments you're in, they almost feel like they have to be superhuman, and we can only be human. And so I love that. And I actually think it's a great transition into our big takeaway for the week. And so, listeners, if you only take one thing away from today's episode, let it be this: trust is built in those small moments long before it's tested in those big moments. Like, right? Like, most leaders think trust is earned during the major events or those crises we face. But the reality is, trust is usually built through everyday consistency, through follow through, transparency, keeping commitments, having those difficult conversations in a respectful way, being honest when it's uncomfortable. We see that a lot, don't we, Macy? But people don't just suddenly decide in a moment to trust you. They accumulate that evidence over time.
Yeah, that's right. I mean, compliance is going to get activity, but that trust, that's what's going to get you that commitment. And oftentimes a leader can use their position, their authority, SOPs, right? Procedures to gain compliance. But trust is what creates that discretionary effort. It causes people to step up when no one is watching, for them to even solve problems before they're asked, stay engaged when challenges arise. And the best teams, they're not driven by a fear of consequences. They're fueled by the confidence in their leader. So, Brian, thank you so much for being with us and talking about this idea of trust. It's so important in leadership. So tell us, if our listeners want to stay in touch with you, what is the easiest way for them to do that?
I'm pretty active on LinkedIn, so just Brian Townsend on. You'll find me, and Eagle 6 Training is the name of my leadership business and consulting. But I'm pretty active on LinkedIn. So
and we'll put that in our show notes.
Yeah, we'll make sure it's in our show notes. Okay, this is a question that we ask all of our guests. So, what is your favorite leadership quote?
This one goes a little bit above and beyond leadership, but it's applicable there as well. But just be the change you want to see in this world. Yeah. I say that a lot, whether I'm talking about talking to young people about, making good decisions. Just be that positive change. Don't wait for something to happen. Be the instrument of change.
And Gandhi was one of the best leaders in the world. So I do think it applies to leadership. For sure.
That's good. And so, listeners, do you have a favorite leadership quote? Send it our way, and we might spotlight it here in a future episode. You never know.
Nope. We'll be back next week with another quote and more leadership insights. And you know what we're going to do?
Oh, yeah.
We're going to talk about it. Bye, Bestie. Bye, Brian. Thank you so much.
We want to thank you for listening. If you're enjoying this podcast, please show us some love by clicking the 3 dots to download the podcast. Leave us a 5-star rating on your podcast app and talk about it with other leaders to help them find the show from any of the major podcast apps. We'd love for you to follow us on social media too. Mpactful with an M _ messages on Instagram and Mpactful Messages on LinkedIn.